Noles All Access is brought to you by Visit Tallahassee. The energy-saving conservation programs of Tico People's Gas. Real Coca-Cola taste with 0 sugar and 0 calories. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Taste the feeling.
Welcome to Noles All Access. Thank you for joining us for our final installment of this special 2-part series with Florida State football. I'm Tom Block, and today on the show, we'll get an update on the defensive side of the ball with coordinator Adam Fuller and defensive back JAIDEN LARS-WOODBEY. We'll also get to know special teams coordinator John PAPUCHIS. And later in the show, head coach Mike Norvell shares his thoughts on the upcoming season. All that and much more is up ahead on Noles All Access.
Coach, you've been here a few months. Welcome to Florida State. When you first got the invitation, the offer from Coach Norvell to come to Florida State, what went through your mind about FSU?
As we were coming off that championship game and then things happened here for Mike, my wife we started to connect the dots and think that the opportunity was going to happen. But when he made the phone call, it was just, it was a life-changing event. It was just humbling and just super excited to be involved with a historical place like this.
And now that you've been here a few months, and I know it's not been a typical off-season by any stretch, but we're in a room and you see Derek Brooks and Deion Sanders and names like that. I mean, what comes to mind as you've settled into FSU?
I've had the opportunity to talk to some of the former players here, Derek being one of them, and we've had a number of former players come in here. And the thing that sticks with you is just the quality of people. And not the individual plays or the championships or the awards that they've won, but just the type of people they are. The caring factor that they have for Florida State and the people that are here, and to know that you've joined that brotherhood now by wearing the garnet and gold, that's really special.
You had great success last year at Memphis and earlier in your career too, but from last year to this year, you're installing your defense 2 consecutive years at new programs. What will be different this year at Florida State compared to what it was a year ago?
Different teachers, right? We have all new position coaches. How they teach, that's going to look a little bit different. Then the players here at Florida State are obviously different than they were last year. So, all that being said, there's still some things. We've got to be a great pursuing team. We've got to tackle the ball well. We've got to have the ability to take the ball away on 3rd and 4th down, physically take it away. That stuff's all going to be the same as far as how we build that for practice, how we build it for meetings, how we build it for dealing with success and failure. But how specifically that's going to look on the field could change based on those other factors.
Let's widen it and go off the field a little bit, not related to FSU football, but you and your family, you just relocated your family. I mean, it's the life of a coach that you would have been in 3 different locations in the last 3 years for you. How have you, especially in these times, how have you integrated yourselves into the Tallahassee and Florida State families thus far?
Well, we had a little time here before the break happened, and so that got our feet wet a little bit, and the boys were able to go to school, so they started. So then once this hit, me and my wife would take walks every evening. Once work was done and recruiting started, there was always about an hour block there in the early evening that we would go for a walk, and that happened for 2.5 straight months every night. That was a great time. Just to be able to connect. I don't think we've ever seen each other on consecutive nights for 2 months straight. For that to happen was really a blessing.
I understand there's a ping pong table in the house. Are there tournaments on a regular basis?
Well, I wouldn't say a tournament because I win every match. So I don't really think that's a tournament, right? But just growing up, like ping pong was a family event. And I'm just developing those things with my boys and my wife. And when the players can start coming over too, it's a good social thing to have. And it's an enjoyment.
I know you're starting to be around them more now, but you had some connectivity, then you had this huge void where you're trying to look at each other on FaceTime and Zoom or however you're communicating. How difficult has that been?
Just different, and what were the expectations of the relationship, when all of a sudden there's distance. I know what an expectation of a relationship is when you're in person. When somebody needs you, you're there, not just over the phone, but physically. But we're looking forward to the time. I mean, we're starting the small things of, even though my wife isn't here in the facility, of just, birthdays or sending food in for them, things of that to try to make it as in touch and as homey as we can. You're trying to navigate the new waters that we're in. But at the end of the day, good-hearted people are good-hearted people, and whether you're players, coaches, managers, whatever that looks like, you're just trying to make sure that you're pouring yourself into the situation within the waters that we're working in now.
And finally, as we look forward to the season, they've played a lot of great defense around Florida State historically. What does an Adam Fuller defense look like? What should we expect?
Well, I want a group of players out there that look like they're playing together, right? Where the fans of Florida State, the players, families, all of us, we can look out there and say there's 11 people on the same page, playing fast, playing really smart, where people are in the right positions, a tough mindset that whether we're having success or reacting to failure, you can count on the group that's out there. And then obviously you want some playmaking ability, right? You'd love to look out there and see that Seminole spear on the side of the helmet, making tackles, sacks, TFLs, playmaking things in the secondary. I mean, that's part of playing fast. That's part of playing smart. That's part of being tough-minded and finishing. There's certain aims, just statistically that we're always trying to be a part of, but I think it's more of just when you look at that field and you see those 11 defenders here with the garnet and gold on, that there's a fast group that's playing smart, tough, and they're finishing things with a really strong mindset and playing together.
Coming up, don't miss my conversation with Special Teams Coordinator John PAPUCHIS.
Coach, as you've settled into Florida State, and I know that as any coach, you've been at several different stops along the way, but what has resonated with you so far in your first several months at FSU?
I think there's a couple things that kind of stick out. One is the tradition. When you get here and you walk around the facility and you get to see the Hall of Fame that's in the lobby, and you start hearing from Odell and he's telling stories about former players or games that have happened in the past, and you realize that you're walking in the footsteps of giants in college football, and it's an honor to be here, and that's one thing that sticks out for sure. I think the second thing is just the passion of the fan base. You can feel it everywhere you go when people find out that you're with Florida State football. Just the way that they receive you and the support that they have for the program is tremendous.
So it's not atypical that a coach would move and continue to grow. It does seem that when I look at 13 years and you've been a coordinator for 11 of them, certainly it's been good experience for you to have that opportunity.
No question. And I thought, I've always kind of taken the mindset from a coaching perspective, and really in anything else, that the more you can do, the more flexibility you give future employers, right? I've figured out that one of those niches that I could create was being really good at special teams. Kind of puts you in a leadership role that, other than the head coach, most coaches don't have. When you coach special teams, you have an interaction or an impact with every guy on the team, whether it's on the field goal PAT unit with the offensive line, the defensive line being on that field goal block unit, and then all the skill players are kind of intertwined in those four core units. So you really have an opportunity to develop relationships and impact a team as much as anybody, except for probably the head coach.
Maybe this isn't a challenge, but for some players, there's a stigma that goes with playing special teams. So how do you get them to buy in about the importance of it as one of the three phases of the game, and several times a year, the difference in a game?
Well, I have absolutely the best special teams coordinator job in America, because buy-in from the players comes directly from the importance that the head coach puts on it. It's a direct correlation. And Coach Norvell has made a statement on the first day he was hired here. He's made the statement when he was at Memphis, and he continues to reiterate it with our players every single day, that special teams is going to be the identity of what this football team is going to be about. And when you have that from the head coach, you get instant buy-in from the players. Like I said, I have the best job in America because our head coach believes what we do is the most important thing going on.
What do you want to see from your special teams units this year? What do you expect to see?
Well, one of our mantras that I've carried with me is we want to be able to have game-changing plays. I want to be able to go back and look at a game and be able to specifically point at how games changed with how our special teams units played. Kind of have a saying that goes one play and out, and that's true for every one of our special teams units. You're going to take the field for one play, and then you're going to be back off the the field. So when you are out there for that one play, did you maximize your opportunity? Whether that's in the kicking game where you can control field position, whether that's in your return units when you have opportunities to put points on the board, how did you impact the game? And if we can walk away from games and know that we had an impact, then we're doing what we're supposed to do.
Coming up, we'll get an update from defensive back JAIDEN LARS-WOODBEY.
Jaden, first of all, as we look forward to this year, there's a lot of ground to cover, but for you personally, you had a really horrific injury last year, so let's just jump right in and start right there. How has the rehab gone? How are you right now as football season ticks closer?
Honestly, I feel like I'm 100%. You know, I've been rehabbing since the day I got injured. You know, every single day I've done something towards getting better and towards getting back to 100%. But honestly, I put a lot of work in, and it was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this process. So I just feel grateful, and I'm ready.
So what excites you about this defense, new coaching staff, new coordinator, and Coach Fuller as you look forward to 2020?
I feel like this coaching staff will truly show my versatility. I've always been a player that can play multiple spots and play multiple spots very well and exceed in all of the spots. I consider myself a student of the game, so I just know every position and try to understand every scheme, but I feel like the versatility will be the biggest factor for me. You know, I can play boundary safety, I can play nickel, I can play linebacker, I can do it all. So I feel like that's gonna be a great tool for us because they can put me anywhere at any time of the game.
A kid from California that comes to Tallahassee and Florida State, that's happened, but that's a long way to go. So you had a great interest there. When did the interest in FSU start for you?
It started around 2014. My brother, he's always been a Florida State fan since like 2006, 2007. But me being a little brother, I always went against Florida State. Whatever team they were playing, I was a fan of that team that week. So 2014, when the national championship was in Pasadena, it was about 30 minutes away from where I live, and my mom, she surprised me and my brother with tickets to go to the game, and we sat in the end zone. At a game-winning catch, you know, it was caught right in front of us. It was about 30, 40 feet away, and after that, you know, I seen the crowd erupt. I mean, it was just so surreal. It was just like a paradigm shift. I'd never seen that side of sports. I've never seen that at a college football game, because that was my first college football game as well. And I was just like, man, I need to come here.
But you have immersed yourself across campus. I know you've, you know, a team leader, but you're out in the community. You've done some international trips as well. Expound upon what you've done, but more than that, what drives your interest?
One of the biggest things, you know, even with picking Florida State, you know, before signing day, you know, I had Ohio State, USC, and Florida State national letters of intent all in front of me. And I was about to just stay home and go to USC, but my mom, you know, she told me, you know, she wanted me to experience life, get out of my comfort zone, you know, try new things, because, you know, you never know what you'll like, you never know what you won't like. And, you know, once I picked Florida State, you know, that mindset kind of went through everything else in life. And I always knew that I was more than a football player, you know. So when it came to just international studies, and when it came to just being more diverse and being more well-rounded around campus, you know, that motivated me, because at the end of the day, like, I'm more than a football player, so.
Well, and that's reflected. You've been named on the watch list for the Warfel Trophy Award. Congratulations there. And that, for those who don't know, I mean, that's a reflection of community and athletics, but also academic. So what are you majoring in? If football was not in the equation, someday it won't be. Hopefully that's years down the road for you.
Yes, sir.
What do you want to do?
Well, my major is international affairs with a focus in urban and regional development. So my goal is always to help build and develop cities. So I just want to help give opportunities to people who don't even have an opportunity to get to explore and do the things that they want because of lack of resources. So that's kind of the fire behind why I chose international affairs with the focus in urban and regional development.
What are your thoughts about the potential of this defense for this year?
I mean, honestly, I feel like there's been great potential for the last 3 years, and I think that this year, you know, in my opinion, third time's the charm. You know, I think that we're finally gonna reach our full potential this year. You know, I feel like we have the right coaches for it, and we have the right mindset from the players. So I think that, you know, with great coaching, great technique, and a great mindset from the players, I think that we can get the job done.
Congratulations on the successful rehabilitation. Best of luck this year.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Straight ahead, head coach Mike Norvell shares some final thoughts as we approach the 2020 season.
Let's go off the field a little bit. Community service has been a big part of your program, certainly at Memphis, and even in these different times here at Florida State with the quarantine, you have made it a point to have your team out in the community. Why is that so important?
Well, you know, our three core values are service, sacrifice, and respect. And you know, that is something that we have to live out each and every day. You know, my number one job as a head football coach is to serve our student athletes, and we also want to serve each other and serve the community that we get an opportunity to live in and represent each and every day. And so it's been a joy to see our guys embrace that. You know, we've done a couple of different events throughout the community to help give back and to sacrifice our players' time and obviously effort to help impact somebody else. And that's one of the greatest things that you can do in this life, is to give of yourself for the betterment of someone else. And to see our guys embrace that mission and that mindset has been something that I've been really proud of. But it's also just something that's so respectable in what they're choosing to do and who we're choosing to impact. I think it's been pretty remarkable.
Through all of this over the last several months, one thing I hadn't mentioned yet, had a school record or a football record GPA in the spring. So despite the distractions and despite the challenges that go from being in the classroom to now distance learning, your team was able to put together a banner spring. To what do you attribute that?
Well, I mean, it shows the buy-in, and I've told our guys since the first day I walked through the door, how we do anything is going to be how we do everything. And so I want guys that are passionate to be successful and to be able to give all of themselves in whatever they're asked to do. And we're all here to get an education. And these players, they got a tremendous opportunity. Here being at Florida State, one of the greatest academic institutions in the country, and so just to be able to fulfill their potential, and the work that they put in, like you mentioned, we had to overcome a lot of adversity. I mean, to go halfway through the semester, and then the entire mode of operations had to change, and to see our guys embrace that challenge, I think it just speaks volumes to what they want to do, and obviously how successful they want to be, and to be able to post team GPA like that through the circumstances that we faced, is one of my proudest moments so far here in the beginning of our transition.
As we finish up, this is more philosophical or motivational, but there's so much uncertainty with how this season is going to unfold. How difficult is it to keep the team locked in when perhaps you know what today brings, but you don't know what next week brings?
Well, to be honest with you, none of that matters, because our focus every single day is just to come and be the best version of us. We have to control the things that we can control, and obviously things have not gone like we all thought it would go, from the day that I walked through to where we're sitting here in these chairs today. But we had every opportunity to be able to make an impact and to work to be the best version of us, mentally, physically, whatever we've had to go through. It's just about trying to set that standard and go and put into application the things that are necessary to continue to grow. My focus for this football team is for us to live up to that, to our potential. Players, coaches, everybody involved. Yes, we have a season, we have a destination, we have things that we want to accomplish, but at the end of the day, if we can control ourselves, if we can come and give the best effort the best focus, to continue to grow and basically earn our 1% development and what we're wanting to do, then I believe we're going to put ourselves in a great position. And so whether there's whatever obstacles that show up, then we get an opportunity to respond. And that's what I've been proud of with our team, is that it's all about that next opportunity that we have in front of us. And if we can focus on being the best version of us when we get that opportunity, then I've got a lot of confidence in what we can accomplish.
Coach, enjoy the ride and best of luck.
Well, thanks so much, and go Noles.
Climb on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you for joining us for this special football edition of Noles All Access. Until next time, go Noles!
Noles All Access is brought to you by Visit Tallahassee, the energy-saving conservation programs of TECO People's Gas. Real Coca-Cola taste with 0 sugar and 0 calories. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Taste the feeling.